Yeah, and for all you cheapskates out there that don't want to invest in your business, I mean, social media is free. Yeah. I mean, obviously you can take it next level if you want to hire a consultant and hire professionals to help you with your social media, but that's the minimum that you can do so you can generate more interest in what it is. And you're basically letting people know what you do. Thanks for joining us this week on the Elite Sales Podcast. I'm joined in studio by my co-host, John Bacaron.
How's it going?
We have Sergio Cisneros, who is not present. He is running a little late, but he'll be joining us shortly. And we got Julian Navalta joining us from Central Florida. He claims all of Florida. So, nice. But we're actually, before we started, we actually were just talking a little bit about the NBA. And, last week we had talked about how unimportant really sports is in our lives, unless you own the team, unless you're a professional player, and then you're directly affected by it. Mm-hmm. But it has been entertaining to watch. Yeah. Just for me, for us, we're here in Los Angeles. Our Lakers got knocked out and got swept. So that was a little painful to watch. Julian was just telling us he's a Florida guy, and he's hoping the Heat are going to take it. And he's going to be going to that championship parade. But not to spend too much time on sports, and we'll probably only spend another 25, 30 minutes on this. No, but the reason why I brought up the sports in the first place was because the Heat are actually the number 8 seed. They barely made it into the playoffs. They had to win a couple in the play-in. They had to win one in the play-in tournament just to make the playoffs. They were a huge underdog against the number 1 seed. They knocked them out. They went to advance the second round, knocked that team out, even though they were also an underdog, and then now they're on the verge of knocking out the number 2 seed.
Yeah, 2.
So, I mean, with sports, I mean, like I appreciate sports because, number one, it's fun, but also, while it shouldn't directly impact our decisions in our day-to-day life. But the thing is, it's kind of a cool thing to watch because no matter what you may think about yourself, no matter how much confidence or hubris you may have about yourself, at the end of the day, you no matter what happens, you still got to go out and perform. And then you got to produce results. And if you don't produce results, you get knocked out. And you get knocked out, that means you don't get those extra bonuses. You don't put yourself in a position to maximize your money. Right. A lot of these things they're still analogous to what we do in sales. Mm-hmm. Sales, you could tell yourself you're the best salesperson in the world. You're great at this, you're great at that. I don't know. I guess ultimately your numbers reflect whether or not that's a true statement. So, I mean, also, when it comes to sports, I mean, that has a much shorter shelf life because how many athletes actually make it all the way to the pros? Like a very small percentage of people that play that sport, right?
I mean, look at it. There's 30 teams and there's only 15 rosters per team.
For NBA, yeah.
Yeah. And then how many college players are out there, right? Basketball teams, undrafted. To make it to the NBA, like even the 15th player, it's really, really good.
Yeah, they'll ball up anyone at 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness.
Right.
So the thing is, like, sometimes like we can create these narratives in our head thinking, oh no, I'm better than I actually am. But if your business is not growing at the rate that you want, or if you're not getting the type of results that you want, overall, the thing is you need to put in a little bit extra work. You need to continue to focus on what it is, like what areas that you need to improve on to like help you grow in those particular areas. And, the good news is our shelf life is pretty long when it comes to sales. If you fight through the struggles and you actually make it through to the other side, because if you want to give up early, I mean, you're not going to see very many results.
Yeah.
But when it comes to our profession, the thing is you have a little bit more extra leeway. You don't have to be the very best in the world to be able to make it. Like you just have to just continue to learn, continue to put in work, continue to figure out what successful people are doing, and then try to incorporate that into your business.
Yeah. And then not just that, but it's also with sports, it's a telling thing about like, okay, everyone there is really, really talented, right? Would you agree? But I think to make it to the NBA finals or to make it as a team, dude, the hardest working team is the one that's beating these super talented players.
Right. Yeah. Cause if you make it to the NBA or to the NFL or whatever pro sports organization, like you're definitely talented and you definitely have moved past beyond all the other guys that wanted to make, and you just something about your game. You contributed something to that organization that they thought would make them better. or maybe sell tickets. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you're value add.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you're in your organization and you're not getting paid what you want to get paid, it's like, what do you think? What do you think you need to improve on? And Julian, I mean, I'm sure you got some thoughts on this. You're a thoughtful guy, and you're also a sports fan as well. So what do you think about all this?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a common saying that, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Right.
That's a given. You have like all this talent and ego gets to you, and, things aren't going your way, versus the guy that has nothing to lose is really giving it probably a lot more than the guy that has everything to lose. So I definitely agree.
And I think too, like, you hear the drama, right? You hear all these little dramas that's happening in the NBA about like some strong, talented players. They're becoming like cancers to your team, or some players are like poking the bear and it messes up their whole team sport. Dude, relationships makes a big difference too in sports or in our business, because not just your talent, but if you're too egotistical with your talent, you're not bringing in raising your team value to that, right?
Well, I mean, I think you're referring to Dylan Brooks, right? With poking LeBron, like just trying to annoy him,
right?
Trying to get in his head, which that all backfired.
Yeah.
And there's also John Moran, which, not to get into the whole gun thing, but I mean, it was probably a lack of accountability on that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, I mean, they're young guys, and it doesn't mean they're bad people or anything like that, but it threw them off of the route in which they thought they were the number 2 seed in the West.
Mm.
And they were supposed to do well in the playoffs, and they were supposed to have a good season. And, obviously certain things derailed their aspirations to win the title this year.
Yeah.
Probably due to a lack of accountability. So, I mean, if you guys are not getting results, I mean, or you would like your results to be better than what they are, find people that are going to hold you accountable. Find people that are genuinely are looking out for your best interests, people that are actually working. Because, we were talking about this earlier in the Q&A. If you're trying to find people to complain to and commiserate with, it's super easy to find, but you guys will both be broke.
There's a lot of that. Misery loves company.
Yeah. So, I mean, all this going to say is just, you got to compete. You got to know what you want. You got to go after it, and you got to add value to other people's lives if you want to get paid and you want to continue to grow an organization. So, part of the reason why we wanted to have these guests on today is because we've been kind of tracking their progress and seeing them participate. Sergio's here. Yeah. Send him on. And then, and with Julian, I mean, we've been watching, he's been sharing a little bit. So he's been talking about, his success with the ILC leads. What's up, Sergio? Come on. Hey, hi. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, grab a seat. Julian, you've had some success with the ILC, which is the Integrity Lead Center, which is where we can purchase leads directly from our parent company. And then we've heard a lot of different things about these leads. People have had their opinions. Some people said it's been great. Some people said it's great. Some people said it doesn't work. Some people said it's the worst thing in the world ever. And then from my experience, I think all of them have been just fine. No, you still got to work them. You still got to put in the time. But what have been your observations and from working them recently?
Yeah. So, learning like which lead I wanted to go with ILC in general has been, we'll just say, a learning experience.
Yep.
At first I'll get like, a salad of different types of leads and kind of see, who's the most responsive, what my connection ratio looks like. And then when I do connect, kind of what that conversation's like. And from filtering out, I would say 4 or 5 different types of leads, I've gravitated to the life insurance questionnaire. And something that made me pick it up is I know it's a newer lead. So I'm like, oh, well, if this is new, I'm trying to keep things fresh. I do understand that, leads can run dry at times. So try and, just be flexible. What I like about the life insurance questionnaire leads are, well, they tell you that it's a 15-step question thing, right? So
yeah, before you continue, can you, for the new agents, what is this new life insurance questionnaire? If you could just quickly explain what that is.
Perfect. Well, so what it says on ILC is that it's a 15 step or 15 question survey that they take in order to be, for us to get their information. So what that tells me is that these guys went a little bit farther than just some auto populate or randomly like pulling, cash or whatever it may be, how those leads are, other leads may be acquired. This told me that people may have like some sort of interest, right? They're putting in 15 steps. And if that's what it is, then I'm going to at least try it, right? So just like any lead, you do have to work them. You'd have to call them. I believe that some people, and this is all leads in general, I think that some people put their information in thinking they're going to get information on their screen, not a call, right? That's you guys got to understand that people are putting in their information thinking they're going to get quotes or some sort of information on the screen, when in reality, we're trying to get a person on the phone with you, right? Or with them. So sometimes the phone call is unwarranted nonetheless. But it's our job to have great tonality and break that wall versus, during the call, get in contact and make them understand this is a process. And we're their defense attorney. We're trying to get them approved. We're here to make this easy and simple and something you don't have to do on your own. When it comes to that lead specifically, though, the life insurance questionnaire, the reason that I like it is because compared to the other leads, this is just my experience, is they haven't been hit. I haven't had them say someone else has contacted me already, someone contacted me earlier, or you guys keep blowing me up, or I just haven't had any of that happen. Mind you, I do get people that hang up. Yeah, it happens. Or I have people that say they're no longer interested, but I've never had someone from the life insurance questionnaire say that I've been contacted already, or I've been, someone from Family First or anyone has reached out before. So I like that. And then secondly, I know what the lead is. So, or I know how they're being acquired or what they're seeing. When I'm on the presentation, I like to do discovery and I'll say, how did you find out about this, or what was the reason that you filled this out, or which one of our platforms did you fill out? Because I just want to find out what they're looking at. Yep. And they're all looking at a TikTok, and I could be wrong, but they're all looking at TikTok. I've heard this at least 4 times right now. And it's a TikTok about cash value. And I love that because I talk about that on my social media. Yep. I'm big on, cash value, being your own bank and just that side of insurance. And so the fact that that's what they're looking for, I'm like, oh, but this is perfect, right? I'm just going to rub my hands together. Let me explain that to you, how this works. These are your options. And honestly, it's been good. And as far as like actual numbers, I'm a little shy of 20 for submit. I know I've submitted 14 for May, and for exactly 40% of it has been life insurance questionnaires. And to be honest, the other 50%, and there's miscellaneous, of course, but 50% is really social media. That you guys know that already. But I generate a lot of my own stuff from my Instagram. Yeah.
No, we see your content, and that's been great. I enjoy watching it, and I try to share whenever I see it.
Thank you.
Just generally informative stuff, but. So going back to the life insurance questionnaire lead, I'm sure a lot of people have questions about it. If we're starting off and you get a lead, how do you, like, if we could role play real quick, call them, how do you start it off?
I really just read the one call close script. Like, I'm not even playing. Like, it's super simple, hey, John, my name is Julian, just reaching out from the benefit center about this request we have here for information on some life insurance. Your birthday is, 4/20, 1980, is that correct? Right. And then if they're like, yes, then we're going to roll into, go ahead and grab a pen and paper. My job is to make this quick and easy. I'm going to have you write down some of my information. Let me know when you're ready. If they can't get the pen and paper now, then I'm going to book the appointment. If they hang up, then they didn't want it right now. If they tell me that they're not interested, then I just ask them if they have insurance already or if they're looking to save money on it. But I really don't do any sort of sauce. I just read the script.
Nice. So keep it simple, first of all.
Yeah.
And you said from your experience so far, you haven't had anyone say, I don't remember filling it out. I didn't fill it out.
I haven't had anyone say I've been contacted before.
Okay.
Which some of the other leads say. I would say maybe one person, but maybe they just forgot. But for multiple orders and a lot of leads for this life insurance questionnaire, I don't have too many memories of someone saying I didn't fill anything out. It was more like I'm assuming they filled it out thinking they were going to get information on the screen. Right. And now they're being called and like, oh, I didn't want the call. Like, right. kind of like that. Like when you see something online and you want to, find out more and you put your information in, you're not expecting a call, but someone's going to call you. So I'm assuming that's what's happening with them.
For your numbers, how many are you buying? I noticed from your sales, you were doing multiple states as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many are you buying to how many are you getting in contact with to how many, like closing wise, close percentages?
I wouldn't say I've even committed to buying a whole lot. Total, just for the life insurance questionnaires, I would definitely say total at least 80 to 100. But I have other leads. So, I have final expense. I do have some Ethos, abandoned cart, had the final expense beneficiary. And then I was looking to get into aged mortgage mailers. Just want to kind of, survey the playing field and see like what different outlets I have. Like, I don't want to just be one dimensional, right. But with life insurance questionnaires, I would definitely say from 80 to 100. I know I should know my numbers, but I don't really have a contact ratio, but I do have a profitability or conversion. And I would definitely say at least 4x of my investment. But, with that being said, a lot of people should understand that leads, and this is not just the life insurance questionnaire, this is leads in general. Just because a lead doesn't pick up or just because you can't get a hold of them does not make it a bad lead. That just means you called it a bad time or they didn't want to pick up. Mm-hmm. It's, that I've called a lead 60 days after I acquired it and sold it. It's just, it's when can you get in contact with them? Are they going to pick up? What is that conversation like? Just because they don't answer doesn't make it bad. So that's just my tip for everyone.
Okay. Now, in the event that you called them and that they said, "Hey, I'm not interested anymore," or I didn't know someone was going to call me, how do you overcome that objection?
Well, now it's like a Hail Mary for me. But first thing I'll do is if they say they're not interested, I'm like, "Oh, are you sure? I see that your email here is this," right? Just to confirm the information, right? So, I'm not like some scammer. Yeah. And then I'll go, "Okay, well, do you already have your insurance in place?" And if they say yes, I'll ask, "Okay, that's really good that you have it. A lot of people don't. Is it permanent or is it temporary?" Okay. And then they'll tell me, right? Hopefully they know, and I'll try and direct it to, if you're interested in actually saving money on your insurance, I'm sure you'd be interested to hearing some options, right? Something like that. And if they're just not interested, then maybe I'll call them back another time. But at that point, it's really like a Hail Mary. Like, let me just see some avenues that I can try and poke to, because I have done that actually with one gentleman and I didn't close it yet. And I say yet because he didn't tell me no. But he said, "I actually signed up for life insurance a few weeks ago." And I said, "Hey, are you looking to save some money?" He's like, "I'm always looking to save money." Perfect. That's like okay, cool. Now let's have a conversation, right? Because he would have just hung up if I didn't say that. I just signed up. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, you have a good day." No. Let's see if we can save you some money. Make sure we know what you have, right? This is your life insurance. We want to make sure that this pays out the way you want it to. So you got to have to don't fold over the first no or first two no's. You know what I mean? That's not going to work out for you.
Right. And in that event that you're actually able to save them money, you're doing them a favor. And you never can get to that point if you just give up too soon, too early.
Yeah. As long as you can maintain that conversation with insurance. Sometimes, they may have purchased something. It's a graded plan. You don't even know. Right.
Oh yeah. And there's options for saving money, right? Like a lower premium is what everyone sees as saving money. But what about a COB or an ROP? That's saving money. Right. Like if you can present that to somebody and they're like, "Wait, you're telling me that a term will pay me back?" Like, "Yeah, 100%. And they're like, "Oh, that's a game changer right there. That's saving money." So there are different ways of going about it. But the reality is I just throw stuff out there to get a conversation. Like, "Are you sure you know what you have? Do you want to, I'm sure you're interested in saving money." And maybe if I can't, I've literally gone to the end and I'm like, "Damn, I can't save them anything," and I'll just tell them, "Hey, you have a great plan, keep it. I don't recommend you getting, replacing it. But if you want to add more, you always can. There's no such thing as too much insurance," right? I'm really trying to draw something out of it.
Yeah. One of my lines I use, like, "Okay, well, great, man. You're taking care of anybody else needs life insurance in your family. Just try to get a referral out of it." Something.
Yeah. That's my exit one. Like if I could tell there's really nothing there and they have really good defense, and I'm just like, "Oh, well, how about anyone else in your family? You want to make sure that everyone else is protected because this doesn't only affect you," right? And kind of pivot that way.
Right. He's got to tread water long enough to try to figure things out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conversation.
The way that I think about it is when I get them on the phone, I got 10 seconds and then I'm trying to buy 15 seconds. and then I'm trying to buy 30 seconds, and then I'm trying to buy a minute. If I buy 5 minutes, now I got time to pitch. And if I buy 15 minutes, now I get to quote. That's really what that feels like. I'm like, hello, John. And then they're like, yeah. And I'm like, hey, right. And I'm like trying to buy time. And now I got enough time where I know you're going to listen to this pitch. I'm going to quote you. And now I can at least present to you. Because if I can't present, it doesn't hurt. There's no skin off my back. Like, I don't really care, but it kind of sucks when you pitch it and they're like, yeah, no. And you're like, damn, I almost got it,
Yeah. No, I always get that feeling. Like if I went through my progression, I was able to ask all my questions and do as thorough of a job, and they still ultimately didn't buy. I'm fine with it. I don't feel any kind of way about it. It's always the ones that get off the hook. Yeah. I mean, that I'm like, I should have said this, and I forgot. I don't know why I didn't ask them this, and then afterwards, like you're just sitting there like, dumbass.
I try to, instead of just quoting, because like that's been my thing. It's like, man, I don't want to make this transactional. I don't want to make this informational. Let me try to build a lot of value first. So I try to postpone the quote as far as I can. And I just keep asking questions. What made you think about getting life insurance? Is it for you, for someone else? Oh, it's for you. Is it for burial, your mortgage, your kids? Oh, for your burial. What do you want? Cremation, funeral? Okay, who's going to take care of this? I'm just expanding and expanding. Okay, you ready to get planning and get a quote? Let's take care of this today. So the more you can buy the time, just like what you mentioned, it's kind of the game from eliminating yourself from a telemarketer to having a real conversation about life insurance based on their needs. So the farther you go, the easier it'll be to sell.
Yeah.
And then for all of you guys that are not that experienced in sales or just want to know if you feel that you're not that quick-witted or you don't know exactly what to say immediately, this is the key to like regain control in any conversation. Just ask a lot of questions. Just keep asking questions. Like if like they're already kind of trying to give you an objection, they're trying to wiggle their way out. If you just make a statement and you let it linger there, they're ending it. So just make sure you finish with a question. You got to finish with a question, and if you can do that, just keep them on the hook.
Yeah. And then for the questions, make sure it's open-ended. It's not a yes or no question, because if you create a leading yes or no question, they're going to tell you no, and then you're going to die.
Right. Yeah. So stuff like when you fill this out, who are you looking to cover, and why were you looking to get this? How would this change your family's life? All these different questions, and it takes work, and we got to just get the experience. Write down your questions. Write down things that make observations. If you do a little journal, it'll definitely help you progress faster.
Yeah. One of your lines when you're on the live dials on your script, you say, what made you think about this today, that today's the day that I'm thinking about getting life insurance and get this taken care of today.
Right.
And it's a closing question that we're going to take care of this today. We're assuming the sale, and you're setting that up for them to answer that question.
Yeah. I'm like, when you fill out this form, what made you wake up today and say, today's the day I'm going to take some action on this? What's been on your mind about that? Right. And then makes them have to sit there and think about it and actually give you an answer, right?
Close yourself, client.
And plus they're giving me all the answers at this point, right? So at the end, when I'm trying to close, if it becomes an issue, they're not ready to get started, I'll be like, well, earlier you said, whatever. But so you just want to get them thinking about it and get them talking, and you'll figure it out.
And I like to poke at the client too about life insurance. Okay, they're looking for life insurance, right? So I ask them, so have you been searching for life insurance before? Have you gotten quotes? Have you taken care of it? Have you gotten life insurance before or never gotten life insurance? So I get to figure out, what's their educational level about the products? What's their gauge? And then you can bring that back up later on. It's like, client, look, you're 72. You've never had life insurance, and now you still want to think about it? I think you've been thinking a long time now, right? It's time to make a decision. So you got to be able to use their words as ammo later on into your script.
Correct. Yeah. And you keep it really lighthearted on your calls. You just joke with them.
Right. I try to make them laugh. You make them laugh, they're friendly with you.
Right. Well, so Julian, so life insurance questionnaire, they've been great leads. I've heard a lot of good things about them so far. Glad to hear your experience has been good. When we were talking yesterday, I also asked you to talk about the Ethos abandoned cart leads, which we had Brett Wilson from Ethos here last week. And you said, honestly, I haven't had too much good to say about it. And I'm like, that's cool. I mean, like we're trying to give everyone an accurate depiction of your individual experience. Doesn't mean like that's the way that it is. It doesn't mean that everyone experienced the same thing, but I'd be curious, how did you find those leads?
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I made money off my Ethos abandoned cart leads and very profitable. And I know this is going against what I'm saying, which is funny, but less in those leads. So not a lot. Obviously it's a big flip.
Yeah. For our friends at the FTC, he helped 2 families.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Hope you're enjoying the video so far. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, anything to help support the algorithm so we can continue to bring you more valuable content and continue to be part of your lives. Also, if you don't feel that it's providing you that much support since you're already at this point, like and subscribe anyway.
Two families, right? Or 2 families, right? But what I don't know, the contact ratio was harder for me, in my opinion, with the Ethos abandoned cart. And then when they picked up, they were already not interested. You know, it was like, it was kind of in their head, kind of like, there's a reason I didn't finish. Like, I've already moved on from this, or I've already been taken care of. I got this taken care of. The one guy that I did close, I think the only reason, maybe not the only reason, but one of the reasons I closed him was because I was just following up. Like, I would text and he was busy. And I guess maybe he got denied from some other places. So I was that guy to find him some options, but we probably only spoke on the phone 2 times. And one of them was to close it, but I was literally texting him every other day. He texted me back. And I would just say for the majority of everyone else, it wasn't a very welcoming phone call. They were kind of just like, yeah, I'll take care of it. Or, oh yeah, I'll get on Ethos and take care of it myself. Or they're just like, I'm not interested anymore. Or I was really just looking around, and I tried to use those same objections, but they were just a lot colder. I don't know. I just couldn't work my magic with those leads specifically. Yep. And I obviously didn't buy a big amount, but that's because I was really buying a variety and then going the direction that I liked. Yep. And just life insurance questionnaires were the ones I liked. So I did end up going that way. But, actually, I lied. I did get 2 orders of Ethos Leads. So, but yeah, it just wasn't really something I liked too much. And that entry call is a lot different. Of course.
How did you enter that? When you called those Ethos Leads, what'd you say?
Hey, Albert, my name's Julian. We see that you have a application that you didn't finish on our Ethos platform. So I've just been assigned a case to help you out, answer any questions that you may have. Most people just have some questions. Is that the case here? And then some of them will have some questions, or just like, you didn't have the product I was looking for, but I already got it taken care of. Right. And then I'll do the thing where I'm like, okay, well, are you happy with what you have? Or would you like to save some money? And actually, believe it or not, I try these, rebuttals and people are like, I'm okay. Like, they just don't even want it. They don't even want to hear it. They don't want to deal with you. They don't even care. Like, and that's actually not a bad thing, because I also preach on some of my presentations that cheaper is not better. So, I can try and bait them with the cheap part, but we all know cheaper is not better. So
it's not.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, well, that's good feedback to hear. I mean, I think clearly we can all have our theories in terms of why it didn't work out. And for us, I mean, when we mentioned, you were talking about the life insurance questionnaires, how that's generated. Obviously, it's pretty high intent because they got to go through 15, 16 steps to generate the lead in the first place. And I agree. I think for a lot of people, they just want that instant gratification, thinking, hey, I can fill this out and automatically I'm going to get something. But then when it doesn't happen, then it's like, now I got to stop my momentum. Now I got to feel some other kind of way about it. And then when someone calls me, I don't know if I'm in that same exact mood as I was thinking when I was filling this out. I think with Ethos, I mean, we have to take into account the person's psychology when they're filling it out. They're going through, they're trying to fill it out, and then they're expecting to just be able to complete everything and get a decision on the spot. And for some reason, it didn't work out. Either they got rated for something, they got declined for something there, or just wasn't quite what they're looking for. Or maybe they just wanted to talk to a human being because they weren't ready to make a decision entirely on their own and just with that piece of technology. So whatever it is, I mean, these are all good data points that we're collecting here, because you're someone that's had success, and for us to hear from an experienced agent, I mean, it's always good to hear. Yeah.
Well, I would love this is how I sold on it. I had some other agents that were not on my team, but they're like, man, you can call these Ethos leads and they're just want to talk to a person, they're basically ready to buy, but they just want to talk to somebody. That's not what the case was for me. I would call them, and I think, if we think about the psychology of where this person may be, maybe frustrated, maybe declined, maybe not so easy, maybe didn't have the product they wanted. But overall, they didn't finish and it went cold, right? This is like, it was hot, then it went warm, and then they just abandoned this idea of getting life insurance with Ethos. Maybe not abandoned the idea in general, but they definitely abandoned that process. And they nowhere along the lines warranted a phone call from you. Right. So then I'm going to call and try and reel them back in, but I'm going to do it in a way where I'm like, I'm tech support, or I'm customer service. I'm not sales. But then all of a sudden, I don't even work with Ethos. Like, let's get you some like 10 other products. I'm trying to direct them away.
Which that's actually a good point. I mean, like, maybe that's part of your psychology or some of the agent psychology, because Brett was here last week and he said it's okay to sell with other carriers.
Yeah.
So I guess the way that we got to approach it, and obviously we'll need more practice on this and more experience, but when we call them, just be like, hey, I'm just giving you a call back about the you're online looking for insurance, with Ethos, and they're always like, oh yeah, because when you say the word Ethos, it jogs their memory, and say that, yeah, so I'm actually an independent broker, and we see that you started it. Just wanted to see if there's maybe some additional options outside of Ethos that might work for you. So that's something that, and I'm not going against what Brett's trying to promote. I mean, he was totally okay with that, because the reality is, like, with Ethos, not all their products fits into maybe specifically what that client's looking for. Like, they don't have a return of premium product, which we love, which we think it's an awesome product. Their underwriting might be a little bit different, so they might qualify for different plans. We've seen that happen too. Yeah. So I mean, there's a variety of different things, and I think it's premature for any of us to just be like, hey, this lead doesn't work, because we're losing out on potential opportunity if we just have that mindset. So
yeah, it's worked for people I know, for sure. I'm not saying I know people that have sold a lot of those Ethos abandoned cart, but just for me personally, I just haven't had the best success with them so far.
Okay.
Not saying I'm not going to try again.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the key wording and mindset we got to keep. We just haven't had success with it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they may have abandoned it because, initially, if you try to quote, you can get the quote up to $2 million for that price, right? If that price twists on them and then changes and then it upgrades them to a bigger premium, that might be the reason they abandoned it. And we might have a different product or a different carrier that can get them that insurance coverage. Right. So that could be an approach we can attack it.
Yeah. And then real quick before we move on, Sergio, Julian, you've been doing great with your social media. I've really enjoyed your content, and I've seen Marlon and Victor came out to record some additional content with you. Like, what's your whole plan with this thing? How's that been going? Like, what's your ultimate goal?
Oh man. So I want to speak to everyone else on the call and not you and John, because you guys do this already. If you're not in a place mentally to take your business to the next level and promote yourself, then you will get left behind in the future. When we talk about where the news is, or advertisements or television, like, that is in the palm of your hand now. And, you can't, be hidden behind, I guess we can call it a waste of your social media if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, because you don't have to be the best, but people have to know that you do this. People have to know what type of value you provide. People have to know that what type of services you provide. And providing value is a free thing that you can do. You can just talk to nobody on your screen and upload it, and it's evergreen, meaning someone can find it now, someone can find it 6 months from now, someone can find it 6 years from now, and they can find the same value that they did the day that you made it. So the investment into my social media and the investment to my leads, well, the leads, of course, is always going to be, I have to turn around and dial those and sell them. And to me, I see that as flat. Now, the investment into myself and my brand and my social media is compounding. And just like cash value, it's very small at first. But just like anyone that's big on social media is an influencer or someone that's in the space of insurance or finance and they want to build themselves up, they didn't have all the followers at first. They didn't have all the content at first. Before convention, I had zero content, maybe 1 or 2 things about insurance. But basically, after I went to convention and I saw the way that this IMO is, the system, and I learned everything, I came back with just clarity, and I knew exactly how I wanted to execute, what my phases are, and whether it's putting out content on, the benefits of social media or the recruiting aspect. then I can use this content and start building it towards funnels, ad spend, SEO, and whatever those things may be. Because if you're not trying to generate your own leads, I think that you're leaving a lot of food on the table for people like me that are putting my name out there. And I'm just being very honest, guys. Like,
True.
Right now, 50% of my business has been social media this month alone. And that these are people coming to me, to my DMs. I don't have to cold call anyone for this. Some people even, I've sold stuff off, they booked my Calendly, and I just wake up to an appointment, so when you put out this information, and it's not overnight, you do have to do your push-ups for real. It's not easy at first, but people will start to trust you. They start to vet you. They start to give you credit, because if you're looking for someone that's going to do your taxes, or if you're looking for someone that you want to buy a house from, if you're looking for somebody or somewhere you want to eat, you are going to go to social media first. Right. So, the same thing for this industry. It's no different. If you follow a guy just like everyone else, it's like, hey man, this person said, cash value is the way. Why would they go to a stranger when they can literally go to this guy's DMs and say, can you help me?
Yep.
Right. Yep. And you can give them options. I had a guy text me yesterday that was like, hey, I need help finding an IUL. There we go. Like, I'm like, great. When's the best time for us to get on a call? Or even farther, which is, I have the mindset of a builder, and I've recruited people off of just sharing my story on Instagram, and the importance of helping people and where it's taken me. And the social media thing is the priority for sure.
I have a question on that with boosting and creating your own ads, right? So you have one, for anybody listening, you got to create your content. But what's the next phase once you have a content to get it out to reach as many people as possible on social media?
Cool. So I'll answer that question, but I want to backtrack first. So one thing I remember hearing at convention, and I've known this, I guess, about agency building, is that you got to get to a point where you have to hire, right? So when you get your money, don't blow your money, and definitely don't save it, right? You got to either put it in leads or start hiring people. Now, everyone was saying hire, an admin or a recruiter, right? Or maybe even a dialer, but no one was saying hire like social media coaches. And to me, I was like, this is the one. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, why wouldn't you hire somebody to like teach you how to build your following, or even build your content, or help you in that gym, if you will? So that's the first thing I did. And me and Marlon actually do this. Like, we hired a guy in our camp that coaches us on social media and has been helping us big time with the turnaround of how our content is made and how often we make it. We literally have a vault of so much stuff just from this guy. Then the second thing is, I've actually hired a guy to start building a funnel, because I'm not trying to learn these things. My value is speaking and selling and recruiting and training, right? I'm not trying to dip into all these other things, because then everything else gets a little spread thin. So when it comes to the funnel, there's experts. There's people who have done this. They do it for real estate. They do it for health insurance. They can certainly do it for life insurance. And for them, they're the experts. They have the performance indicators. They can do Facebook ads, Google ads, do their SEOs or search engine optimization, and they can help you along your way as long as you have the content, right? You got to be marketable. You got to be well-spoken, and you got to know your brand and your demographic. For me, I know my brand and my demographic. I'm not a 3-piece suit type of guy. And I'm not, exactly trying to sell to that demographic necessarily, but there's a lot of people from where I'm from that could definitely use some insurance. So I just want them to be educated in the same way. I want to take it off the pedestal. I want to make it a conversation that people feel more comfortable having, because a lot of the times people don't want to take the medicine because they think that it's something way above their pay grade, or they're just not in that place in life. But it's like, no. It's a lot more simpler than that. Just check my Instagram, and they see this content. They see that it's, very, very palatable, for anyone. I've actually had an increase of young people sign up for life insurance because of my social media. It's an increase of young people with no dependents or assets sign up for big policies because of what this tax-free, safe growth will do for them. So, social media is really the priority. And I know that maybe not next year, maybe not in the next 2-3 years, but people are going to look back, and I will be an authority in my space with my people. And, you can look at the Gary V's or the Patrick Bet-Davids or the Mr. Burrs or the Bradleys or all these people that had no followings before, and they just pump stuff every day. They pay someone. You could tell who's really running their Instagram. Some You could tell some people are just paying someone and they're just talking, recording, and then it just gets put up there. But you need to contribute to the narrative. You like, and I'm talking to everyone else, like, because you guys do it, which I love. And I try and share everyone's stuff that like talks about cash value or life insurance IULs, because it reinforces what you talk about.
Right.
You're not alone. We're not on an island, right? We're not isolated. Like we're on a pulpit on the corner, like talking about it. No, we got an army of people online. We're all talking about the same thing. But if they follow you, then they're going to buy from you, especially if they like you. You're eloquent, educated, and you have a good branding on your social media as far as, you know, even a landing page, whatever that may be. So overall, right, guys, not saying it will. If the ILC shut down, is your business out of business? Because mine won't be. And that's something I learned at my old organization, was if they stopped giving me leads, am I going to die? I couldn't live with that, because I love this industry. I love this opportunity. There was no way I was going to live off of one oxygen supply. And that's the way you guys got to think.
That's awesome. Great stuff. Yeah. And for all you cheapskates out there that don't want to invest in your business, I mean, social media is free. Yeah. I mean, obviously you can take it next level if you want to hire a consultant and hire professionals to help you with your social media, but that's the minimum that you can do so you can generate more interest in what it is. And you're basically letting people know what you do. And people need life insurance out there. And the thing is, when it comes time to them needing it, if they don't know you do it, they're never going to reach out to you about it, because why would they? Right. So we all have a little bit of control in that regard. And yeah, I mean, just like Julian's talking about, me, every piece of content's not going to hit. We talked about this the other day. And like, sometimes you put out stuff, you're like, oh, this is going to go viral. This is so lit. Like everyone's going to love this piece of content. Terrible. It's trash. Yeah. Right. And then there's other ones you're like, it's a little throwaway thing. I'm just going to put it out there. And then somehow people start sharing it and it goes viral and it connects with somebody. Yeah. So you never know. So every piece of content that you do, you're sowing seeds, and that's all you got to look at. And eventually, if you do it consistently long enough, whatever brand or messaging you're trying to put out there will eventually connect with those who it's supposed to connect with. And if you don't sow seeds, that'll never happen. Nothing will grow from it. So I love that methodical nature, then how well thought out that whole process is. I mean, I can see that it's going to definitely work for you because you're putting in the time and the effort and the thought.
Thank you. Yeah. An analogy I just want to share is like, you have to have many lines in the water. Like, we're all trying to catch fish, right? This is literally what we're doing. We're trying to catch fish. We're trying to feed our families, but you're just trying to do it off one stream. And I'm just going to go to this one lead center, right? But even then you can go to, there's unlimited vendors, there's call centers, there's all sorts of ways you can generate, or catch fish for your business, but those all cost money. Yeah. But sharing on social media is free. These are free lines. Like, I post the same thing on Facebook Reels, on YouTube Shorts, on TikTok before they shut it down, and then on Instagram. And I plan on maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, taking those same exact posts and posting it again. Why? Because someone else may not have seen it yet, right? And my following could have jumped in numbers, and maybe they didn't see or scroll down to see the old stuff, but it still has the same value, and it's free. Like, guys, I do not pay for boosted posts. I don't pay for TikTok ads. Not saying they're not good. I know people that make money off them, but I don't. I use that money and pay the experts. So I pay a guy that teaches me, how to have much better social media content. And then there's another person that is coming up with like a funnel, and they know everything about like Google ad spend and Facebook and stuff like that. So just know that, if you're frustrated with we're talking about one lead, life insurance questionnaire, I don't even have to run that if I don't want to, so you guys understand that you have to create these opportunities for yourself, because your success is your responsibility. Great. So, yeah.
And so if there's anyone out here watching that wants your help and wants to connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Definitely my Instagram. And then that's going to be at Julian Ignacio. I'll just put it in the chat. You can feel free to ask me anything. I have no problem.
Well, you all will put it into he'll put the little graphic up too. So.
Yeah, well, I just put it in the chat with, so at Julian Ignacio, I answer that stuff. I don't have any assistants yet that do that, or VAs that do that for me. But that's another thing too. If you guys like the content, just know I don't. It. Yeah, well, that too, that actually has helped my agents sell. Yes. Because they'll post my content and it reinforces their message because like, oh, this guy, he looks like he has an authority, or oh, let's look at this guy Albert, let's look at this guy John, they look like they have authority in the space, and they're backing up what, you know, Sergio's saying. So you know, it must be true. Like all these guys, or I'll even post stuff from Chris Crone, which I love. I don't know if you guys like Chris Crone. He's super sick. He's a real estate guy, but he talks about wealth and he talks about life insurance, and he has tons of followers. So I'll repost this stuff. So leverage these people, guys, like leverage this stuff. When it comes to doing your social media, just be creative, have fun with it. Don't overthink it, and make sure that you are consistent. That's all I would say on that.
If you don't have the content, you're active on social media anyways, follow the right people, just post their information, repost it into your story, and add a little caption saying, hey, if you're interested for more information, text me. DM me. That's it.
Yep. Cool.
Great leads.
Appreciate all that great info, Julian. We'll continue to watch you social media and continue to track your progress.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sergio Cisneros.
Sure.
Yeah. Good to meet you first of all in person.
Likewise.
Yeah, we had a lot of good stuff coming from Julian and social media in general, but you've been having pretty good success too. How long have you been with FFL now?
Maybe like 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
Okay. So how long have you been in the insurance space?
Probably like 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years more.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So without naming company names, I mean, how was that experience before? I mean, like what's been the differences since you've come over?
Definitely, I would say it's much higher pay scale here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I just think the opportunity with the amount of different insurances you guys sell, because over there at my prior company, it was just churn, but here it's kind of like a Costco. You guys got a variety,
right,
and it's not like just one product. So over here, it's like, you know what I mean? You're giving the client multiple different insurances. And I think that, you know, people have different needs and they have different wants. So from IULs to return of premiums to whole life, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I just think I like that field better, where I have more to offer to the client.
Right.
And I just think it's a lot easier rather than just selling just one product. It's harder that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'm familiar with that company. I mean, that one product, it definitely has its value. Definitely can help families, but it's nice to have a full portfolio to be able to serve every clientele.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So for the people in which we kind of thought about this for a while before we made the move over, like when agents say, "Oh, comp really doesn't make that big of a difference. Comp's not really that big of a deal." I mean, it's a pretty big jump from where you were to is now, right?
Yeah, it's like shoot. I would say like 50, 60% difference, which is
big.
It's quite a huge jump. You know what I mean? So I would say, you know, this company now, it's just given like opportunity, and it's kind of like a wow. You know what I mean? Like I never knew that there was, you know, you could make that much, you know, potential. You know, over there, it's kind of like they have a glass ceiling over there, and it's like here, it's like wow, dude. Like I don't even know what to say.
So you definitely financially feel the difference? Yeah,
definitely. Definitely feel the difference as far as pay, as far as offering the client more product, you know what I mean? And, you know, just hearing as far as like from all the different leaders here, that, you know, you can actually grow. Because over there, I just felt that with my prior company, everybody said like, oh, we're here to help. But when it really came down to it, they weren't really there, like in the trenches. Like, for instance, like Julian, you know, he's like, hey, feel free to reach out to me. And it's like, you know what I mean? Over here, you want to actually help out that person, even though you don't override them or they're not in, you know, your downline organization. And it's like, you know what I mean? You have a genuine, sincere heart here. And it's like over there, we're in the same like organization, but they don't want to help each other. So it's like,
right. Feels a little cutthroat.
Yeah, it's like a little bit cutthroat, you know. And over here, it's like, okay, this person actually wants to help me out, and I just been, you know, with the warm market, because that's what I was taught and raised here. But now I'm just hearing from all the other leaders, like with this elite system, social media, and it's like, man, if I implement that, you know, versus just being one, you know. Just have my one hook. If I have multiple different hooks out in the water, it's like the potential here is just so much more. You know what I mean? So definitely.
Coming from the practice company or prior company,
yeah.
You were there for 8 years then.
Yeah, I was there for 8 years. Over there, I had to get a investment license, which I couldn't pass that test. I was doing really good numbers, recruiting a lot, selling a lot, but they just never wanted to promote me. And then they promoted this other couple where they had no securities, they weren't doing no numbers. And it's like, you promote somebody like that, but yeah, you're not promoting somebody that's actually, out there in the trenches, recruiting, selling, doing big numbers, you know what I mean? And out of all the other offices, this one guy is like, out there pushing for you. So it's like, once I lost all respect for that, broker at the prior company. And then I think it was Marlon. I had to reach out to Marlon, and I told Marlon, I was like, I was scared to like get started with this company because I'm like, you have a bad experience. Right. And it's like, okay, am I gonna have that experience there? But just something told me deep down inside, just do it, man. Just do it, because if you're always afraid to take risk in life, you're going to be stuck in the same position as you were, prior years. So I reached out to him. He's like, let's do it, bro. And you know what I mean? I just basically just been running with it from here, just off of, the warm market leads. Right. But I still have a lot to grow here as far as learning the other ways to generate leads, which I'm open to. Sure. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would say 100% for all the new people here, better comp, a lot more products here that they offer, a lot more better coaching here, and people that actually want to help you out, right, versus, saying that they will help you out, but they don't. You know what I mean? So Marlon, Victor, they're always reaching out to me, asking me if I need any help. But fortunately, you know what I mean? I've been having that success with just the warm market lead, thank God. But I know I have to, go out there and do these other type of generate leads.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It's like, you've been there for 8 years, so you've mastered the warm market and the referral game.
Yeah, definitely. Because over there at the prior company, they're masters when it comes to the warm market. As far as like, okay, I'm sitting down with you at the kitchen table. We would create a list. And obviously, you build that trust, that rapport with that client. And I just think that's the biggest thing, is building trust with that person, because if they don't trust you, then they're not going to refer anybody to you. Sure. You know what I mean? But if you're actually showing that this client, they could have X, Y, and Z in the next couple of years, and they see the growth in their statements, it's like, wow, this guy's actually, who he say he is. Mm-hmm. So that's how like I mastered that referral game. And I would generate leads, you know what I mean? And sometimes I'd be like, okay, well, if this client was to get, a life insurance with us, then, you know what I mean, we would help them out and get them, gift cards, or get them just something nice. We would deliver to their, through the mail. So I just think that's something too, is reinvesting back into your clients. You know what I mean? And I feel that if you do that, you know what I mean, then, they're gonna give you a lot of, leads. Sure. So, and then, yeah, that's basically, for like the last 8 years. So when I came into here, that's what I've been having a lot of success with, the warm market.
Great to hear the success. And for those that didn't catch it earlier, Sergio's helped over 30 families so far up in this month after 3 weeks. And this is all off of referral and warm market.
Warm market, yeah.
Yeah. So earlier we were just talking to Julian about different lead types and purchasing leads, and then also obviously utilizing your social media to further leverage more interest. And that's ultimately what it comes down to, just having people to talk to.
Right.
So as far as the referral game, how do you get started with that?
So over there we had like a it's kind of like a questionnaire type of sheet. So before we got started with the presentation, you would be like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if I earn the right, the trust, and everything makes sense in this life insurance policy, and it makes sense for you and your family, would you trust me with your brothers, your cousins, aunts, uncles, parents? And they'll be like, yeah, for sure. If it's something that makes sense for me and my wife, then I'll definitely go ahead and refer you, clients. So it's basically, you kind of throw the hook out there, and then showing, what you have to offer for the family. And then if it makes sense for them and they're like, okay, well, this is where I could be in the next, 20, 30, 40 years. then they went ahead and referred me, 5, 10, maybe 15 leads. Sometimes it wasn't always like that. And I just think the biggest thing is not just explaining the product or really knowing it, but having that connection with that individual. You know what I mean? And one of the biggest reasons why I got started with the insurance industry, because my dad passed away 10 years ago, no life insurance, and he passed away at the age of 36. So I just think it's telling your personal story and making that person have that connection with you. You know what I mean? Because people are going to buy you. They don't buy the product. They don't buy the company. And you know what I mean? So I just think that you have to, tell them, what it could do for them, but also they want to hear, your story. Like, okay, why, you know what I mean? What do you have? So I think that's ultimately is just telling my story. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, we know that the day that we're born, but we don't know the day that we're going to pass away. Right. If everybody knew the expiration date, everybody would have life insurance, right? Yeah. Everybody would be rich, but that's not the case. Right. That's not the case. So I just think that, telling and sharing your personal story, building that connection, building that rapport. And it's not always going to be, rainbows and butterflies. Like not every kitchen table that I go on, I haven't went on, because I do a lot of face-to-face, because that's how I was taught in my prior company. Mm-hmm. But I like it here. It's like, you could do the Zoom, and it saves you a lot of time with, the driving and all that. But yeah, I would say it's just building that connection, that rapport with that client, and you have to earn and gain those referrals. And it's just planting seeds, because it's not always going to happen at that specific time. Like, okay, I'm just going to give you 10 leads. No, it's not going to always work like that. Sure. But I feel that if you're on enough appointments and you keep, constantly planting seeds everywhere, I would have people reach back out to me and be like, hey, this is so-and-so. You sat down with me like about a month ago. This person is interested in life insurance. And I'm like, dude, like, it's kind of like just a lead falls on your lap.
It's a word of mouth.
Yeah, it's like a word of mouth advertisement. And I feel that, that's like it's kind of like the easiest close, because you already built that rapport with that individual. Now they're referring, their family member or a friend. So it's like, okay, I already have that. I built that connection, that trust. Now all I got to do is explain the product and, find the right product, find the right fit for that individual, and then just close the deal.
Yeah, the actual third-party endorsement never hurts, right? Because
right.
Someone else has already knows who you are. They've kind of vetted you for them.
Exactly. So it's kind of like they got your foot in the door. Now it's just your job, just to, as an agent, to do what you do best.
Right. And when it comes to referrals, I mean, we used to have to collect a lot of referrals out of necessity, because we didn't have that many leads. Right. Yeah. But now that you get into an organization like Family First Life, you see that there's different ways, so many different ways of people doing things. Like you got Julian, you got all these other people purchasing leads, you got people working more market, you got people doing their own advertisements, social media, all this other stuff. There's so many different ways to skin a cat. If for those that actually want to skin a cat, I don't know what that's saying, but this is really, really good, because I mean, like we just got a couple different perspectives for the people that are not willing to invest as of yet, into leads. I mean, this you can always find a way if you're willing to put in that time, learn your craft, and then continue to work at it. Yeah. And obviously you've worked at it.
Definitely. And I just think, like, for all the new people, it's you're like afraid to like invest up front, or you don't have the money. You still could close people like in the warm market. And that's what also I did too with the prior company I worked for. I reached out to a lot of my old clients, and I told them, like, hey, I'm an independent broker now. I have a lot of different variety of insurances to help you out, and I've gotten a couple of closes like that too. You know what I mean? And they've switched over, to FFL, which is great. So I actually have another follow up too with somebody that was my client over there for like 4 years ago. And I just have to make the call now, set up the appointment, and go see her. So beautiful. I mean, there's just so much. It's like, you're at a buffet now here versus like just at that one specific restaurant. There's just so much to feed. There's so much on the table, like Julian was saying. So it's like either you're going to do it or somebody else is going to go and close that family. You know what I mean? So there's just so much opportunity here where I'm just still mind boggled. It's like, is this a dream?
Right.
Like, so I don't even know. Like, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I want to see, how much more now I could do now with all the different other leaders here and with their ways, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, shoot, it's like, sky's the limit now.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking on a Q&A earlier. We're talking about people that say, oh, I don't have any money for leads, but they're in a broke mindset or broke situation, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why is it that more people don't ask for referrals if it's free?
I think it's because I was like that too with my prior company. I just think it's you're just scared to ask, but it's like they always say, a closed mouth is not going to get fed.
Exactly.
So like the worst thing that they could say for all the new people is if you ask, then they could just say no, or maybe they don't trust you yet. So it's just planting that seed, and just maybe they didn't give you that referral at that specific date, but it's just following up with that client. Hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Or what would help us out a lot too over there, we would send like birthday cards. You know what I mean? So we had a system where we would send out birthday cards, Thanksgiving cards, Christmas cards, etc. You know what I mean? And just follow up with that client maybe once a month or maybe every other month, and just see how they're doing. You know what I mean? And that's honestly, I learned a lot of good information from the prior company where I'm using here now. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's just different strategies or tools, or, you know what I mean? Just become creative with, we would say like, hey, you know what I mean? If you refer us a client, we'll give you, sometimes I would give them a $50 gift card, a $100 gift card, or a Visa card. And people like that. People are like, wow, if I refer that person, shoot, I can make $50-$100. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're helping out their loved one, and at the same time they can make, a little bit of extra money. So that's something that I would do. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just think it's planting that seed and being consistent, because if you fall off with that lead and you don't know, hey, that person could lead you to a big corporation where you could go and speak to that whole entire, that job. And that's something that we would do too over there, is we would try to get our foot in the door of big corporations, places that didn't offer life insurance, which I never got into, but that's something that you could also do as well here is try to, market yourself.
Right.
Market yourself.
Yeah, I just remember back in our old company, we used to talk about the leads, and then we would talk about referrals. Mm-hmm. And then just going back, like referrals are the best type of lead, especially if it's a client you sold that referred you a friend or a family member. Like the closing ratio on that is like 66 to 67%. Yeah. As soon as you are able, so, understand, let's say he gathers 5 to 10 referrals, right? You're not going to be able to sit down with all of them. Yeah. But the ones you sit down with, they know it's about life insurance. They know someone else that they know bought the life insurance. It's a straight up lay down where they just tell you, John, what did my sister get? Okay, I'll give you the same thing. It's a wrap. 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just like I said, is the close is, I'm not gonna say it's easy, because there's still work, but it's kind of like effortless. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's just effortless.
You know what to expect.
They know what to expect. You know what I mean? And now it's just, your job just to do what you do best.
So for a lot of people, their reluctance is like, I don't want to bother these people. I don't want to like inconvenience them. Like, what's the mindset got to be if you're going to ask for referrals? So
that's definitely a great question. I would say the mindset is treat them like if they were your mom, your dad. You know what I mean? Like, because if somebody had that mindset and they would have sat down with my dad 10 years ago and they would have, explained to him everything, my family wouldn't be in that situation that we were. Right. You know what I mean? So I just think that you have to, it's bigger than you, don't chase the money, chase helping out and making a difference for that person. And I feel that if you have that mindset, like, okay, well, I'm treating this person like if it was my own mom or dad, then you're gonna close that person because it's bigger than you. And, you actually have a bigger understanding or the bigger picture of not just looking at that check, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's like, shoot, you can make $2,500 to, $3,000, for like one policy or more. So it's just having that mindset where just treat them like if they were your own family. You know what I mean?
You can't go wrong with that, because it'll be real personal, real genuine experience.
A real genuine experience, because you see it so many times, GoFundMe's, you see car washes, people selling food. And it's like, when you see that, it's like, shoot, what happens if I was sitting down with that person? There would be one less GoFundMe. Think about it like that. One less GoFundMe, one less car wash, one less that person selling food. And I've seen people in 100-degree weather, rain or shine. You know what I mean? And it's, it has to be deeper. It has to be deeper than just the money or just, that, it's just helping out as many families as you can and making that difference where, shoot, I'm going to go help this family out. Because at the end of the day, it's like, we can't help out everybody.
Right.
But as long as you're throwing your name out there, and that's all you can do. So sometimes all you can do is all you can do.
Right.
But as long as you know that you're leaving it all on the field every single night and going home every single night, and when your head hits that pillow, like, shoot, I did all I could do. I left it all on the field. Because we're all guilty of that. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, I could have gave 110 or 120%. Today, I only gave like 30 or 40%.
Right.
So. And
you're not just shortchanging yourself in those situations. There's clients that could have been protected if you tried a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, shoot, I could have said this or I could have said that. Or I should have just tried a little bit harder, being consistent with following up. And I just think that's the biggest thing is follow up, being consistent, and just never giving up. You know what I mean? Until that client either blocks you or, then that's basically what you have to be. You have to be so like annoying in a way where like they'll block. Cause I've gotten blocked, or like, with this iPhone thing, you send the message and it goes green, or like, So it's like,
it's no longer an iMessage.
Yeah, it's no longer an iMessage. So it's like, okay, well, you get the point, or you could try to call them from a blocked number or a different number, but you know what I mean? It's you got to get to that point where they block you.
When it goes green, I like to lie to myself and save my ego and being like, oh, they must not have paid their phone.
Right, their phone got cut off. It's not me.
Yeah. So it's I think it's just being that having that determination where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna bother this person or annoy this person, and you're doing it for a good cause. You're doing it to protect.
You're creating a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, love to hear. I mean, I can definitely see why you're having such success, because your personal story allows you to have real conviction for what you do.
Right.
And then, are you looking to build a team here too? You just focus on the personal.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm looking to build a team.
So if someone's watching and then they're not with FFL yet, they want to join, how do they contact you?
That's a great question. So I haven't really got into that point yet.
Are you on social media? Are you?
Yeah, I am, but I'm not like as active.
How do they contact you? If someone's out there watching, they want to reach out to Sergio, and they're like, I like the cut of his jib.
I want to learn from this referral king.
How do I work with this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like, because my family, a lot of my family follows me, and like, I make the posts, and I've actually gotten a lot of people that have reached out to me. And they basically, they would be like, hey, can we give them your number for life insurance? Or, you know what I mean? They're looking for an opportunity. So, I would just say, either you can follow my page or give them my number.
What's your IG handle?
Shoot, I don't even know. Let me look. Yeah. I think it's let's see.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Julian's ahead of you on the social media.
Yeah, definitely. SCEE_3.
SCEE_3.
Yeah.
The number 3?
Yeah, the number 3. SCEE_3.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's something because I was doing social media back over there, and I would pay, but I just been like I haven't really done that. But now hearing, Julian, he's like freaking the master of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I just picking his brain and having that other hook, out there in the water. So yeah.
Cool. Well, appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit. If you had to give one piece of advice for any agent that's struggling, what would you tell them?
I would just say just dig deeper. You know what I mean? Your why is not big enough. So I don't know if people are doing this to make extra money, maybe like as an extra side gig, or maybe you're doing this to make a change in your community, or maybe you're doing this for your children. I don't know what your why is. I don't know what people's purpose is, but I would just say just dig deeper. You know what I mean? And when it's bigger than you, then there's just no stopping. There's no stopping. There's no letting go of the gas. So when you know your why, and when your why makes you cry, then you know nothing's gonna stop.
That's right.
Yeah.
So just dig a little deeper, guys. Don't wuss out too early.
Yeah, don't wuss out. You know what I mean? Because we all have the ups and downs. It's gonna be like that. There's gonna be ups. There's gonna be downs. There's gonna be days where you feel like giving up, because you know what I mean. It's just the enemy trying to sabotage you, and it's just biggest enemy is yourself, person that you look at every single morning. And you know what I mean. Just dig deeper. Don't give up. Be consistent, and just put in the work.
Cool. Great advice, and love to see the early success so far. Looking forward to you continue to grow, and we'll gotta have you back on again.
Definitely.
Another crispy cut. All right. Well, appreciate Sergio Cisneros for coming on, sharing a little bit about his story. Julian, Navalta, and then John. Appreciate you guys. Marco producing. Let's go out there and apply some of this stuff. There's a couple different ways that we've learned today as far as how to approach your business, how to increase the number of people that you talk to, and the number of people that you potentially could help. So the only way it really works is if you go to work and actually put into practice. So let's go out there and be elite, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Have a good one.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys once again for supporting. If you guys want to see more of that, please make sure you like, subscribe, click on this link here to subscribe, click on this link for the next video.